So entrepreneurship is filled with traps, and here's one I want to help you avoid as you're starting, growing, launching, and building your business. So in my very first venture, go back all the way, rewind to 2007, I started my first business. Well, pretty soon that little business became my first baby. Now I had 2 kids at the time when I started my first business, but now I had this 3rd kid called my business. And so today I want to talk about what that does to you as a founder, entrepreneur, business owner, as you launch that business, aka your baby, you grow that business, and then one day you want to exit that business, which between you and me means you're selling your baby. So let's talk about that today. First, here's the thing. Our business becomes our baby because we get so emotionally tied to it. I know I was. My life, my family's life depended on that business succeeding. And so if you're built like you are, and you are built this way as an entrepreneur, you give everything you can to that business, and you become emotionally attached to it. And that's fine, and that's good, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just know there's going to be some pitfalls to that as you progress forward. Now, fast forward to today, just a quick note about the business being the baby. When I exited that business, I'm going to talk about that in a second, it was very emotional for me because we were selling our baby, even though we stayed around and worked in it for 3 years. And nowadays, I own multiple businesses, and I am simply the foster parent where I get to love on these kids, love on these little businesses, help them grow, help them nurture, help them get to a place where they can then go live somewhere else. So I've turned from parent, which is one-to-one, to foster dad, foster entrepreneur, which is one-to-many. I can give more impact. I can make more changes in this world. I can help more businesses grow because I'm able to do it at scale. All right, so let's go back to that. So business number 1, my baby. We were having the time of our lives growing a business, but we got over our skis, let's say, because the business was growing very fast in year 3, 4, and 5. And I had not at that time built up the competency to handle that growth, handle that scale inside the business. We had gotten to 70 employees. We had to deal with all of that. We didn't have the right processes and procedures, even though I hate that word. We didn't have the right playbooks in place. We were just living our best life, doing our thing, hiring, going crazy, and just blowing and going. And that's great. And that was a wonderful time in my life. And probably some of the fondest memories are from those moments. But then we got the old knock on the door, aka letter in the mail, of someone wanting to buy our business. And then we got another one. We got a phone call. Hey, Andy, we would like to acquire your business. 2 different buyers, private equity and strategic buyer. So we can go into that later. Not in this video, but another time. Very different buyers, by the way. So then we're going to sell our baby. Why are we going to sell our baby? Because we weren't sure that the business could continue to grow and scale at the rate we were growing with us as the leaders. We were, at the same time, funny enough, we were trying to hire a CEO to run the business because we had realized that wasn't our core competency. That takes a lot of growth, by the way, to hire someone to run your baby. Interesting, bringing in a co-parent. And so here we were, year 5, we had 2 potential buyers, and we were exiting our baby. Now, what did that mean when we were exiting our baby? It caused us a few problems, or I would say caused me a few problems. One, I was emotionally tied. I remember during the negotiations, one of the buyers pointing out some of the flaws in our business. And I remember my hand being on top of the table like this, and I had to take my hand and put it under the table because I was so emotionally tied and hurt and scared and nervous and all these weird feelings. And this was happening. I had to pull it in a weird moment. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting in a big boardroom, big conference room, top of this great big fancy building, and I was emotionally tied. Now, when we're too emotionally tied to things, we lose some objectivity. Now, objectivity is our ability to make good, sound decisions based on what's best for the business, what's best for the stakeholders. We didn't have any investors, but what could be best for your investors? What could be best for you, right? Big thing. So we have to realize that if we are going to build our baby and we get really attached to our baby, that we're going to get emotionally attached. And emotionally attached, when you feel that happening, just know it's time to pull back and get some perspective so that you can then have a different opinion about what's going on and an objective opinion. The second thing that happens is you could lose sight of your work-life balance. Now, I was fortunate to have a spouse, my wife, who said, look, dude, 6 o'clock, you're shutting her down. And if I didn't shut it down, she was like, well, what's going on? Now, I traveled a lot, but when I was home, I would shut her down at 6 o'clock. And this was back in the day where you had limited social media at the time, so you weren't distracted as much. So work-life balance, if it's your baby, can get out of whack. Now, entrepreneurship is hard. You're going to always work hard. I work really hard today. I probably work more today than during that first business. And I love it. And I don't consider it work. I consider it playtime. But you might see me on a run at 9 o'clock in the morning, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And you might see me shooting one of these videos at 8 o'clock at night. So different chapter of my life, got kids in different places. And so, I'm oftentimes hanging out outside of practice because I'm not allowed in practice anymore. And I'll be doing stuff like this. So different chapter, find what's best for you. There are no right or wrong rules. Forget the 9 to 5 thing. You do you, right? You do you. And so just remember, if it's your baby, you get too emotionally attached, you could have some work-life balance issues. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is this exiting your business. So businesses are wonderful, and businesses are meant to live in perpetuity. And that business is also meant to live without you. That's a tough one to comprehend. That business that you're running one day will run without you if you are building it properly. That one hits me still today very hard, because when I start a business, I'm that initial, I call it the blacksmith, right? I'm going in there, I'm taking raw stuff and I'm turning it into something usable, something good. And I pour a lot of creativity, and I pour a lot of hard work and sweat and equity and grinding. And you never know if you're going to eat in this 0 to 100 game of entrepreneurship, where half the time you're eating crap on the bottom like a catfish, and then the other half of the time you're tasting a filet mignon, right? So it's that world. If you want that world, you're in the right passion. If you don't want that world and you want stability, then hit me up quick so you don't waste too much time in this journey of entrepreneurship. I'll help you find a real job so that you're not in this swimming amongst the sharks here, because this is sink or swim. Whew. But anyway, sellability. That business needs to be able to run without you, and it can't run without you if it's your baby, because it's going to rely on you. I've got a senior girl. She's going off to college. She's got to fly without us now. Your business is going to have to fly without you now, because guess what? Your business has to flourish without you. So there's a lot of garbage that being your baby, the business being your baby, can get in the way of if you allow it. Now, can you be passionate about your business? Yeah, for sure. I love kids. I love pouring into kids and helping, especially you little athletes who want to find their best life, or anyone who wants to be a better version of themselves. I love that. And I love helping and pouring into those young people. Well, that's what businesses are. I want to help and pour into many businesses, so at scale we can make more entrepreneurs. We can make more impact on this world, because I think entrepreneurship is the one trade that we can do where we can go in and impact our lives. I've seen it. Our families' lives. I've seen it. Now, it's a roller coaster, but as long as they sign up for that. Our lives, our family lives, our employees' lives, our communities' lives, and lives that live on beyond us, just like our little business. So know that you should be passionate about your business. I have always been very passionate. Know that sometimes your little baby might fail. I have done that. Know that your baby should live on without you. And know that there are some traps in this world. And if you know to avoid them, you'll build without hitting the same pitfalls that I have over these 20 plus years. Friends, I thank you for being here today. This is my attempt to give back to the entrepreneurial community after being a part of it for 20 years, growing multiple businesses, having the time of my life, building, launching, growing, exiting businesses. And it's something that I think you can do too if you're cut out for it. If you are, go live your best life, friend, and make impact. Appreciate you. See you next time.